Guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles for a one-off breakdown. Dr. Stone Ryuusui. I thought it was going to be season 3. It's not. So this is just going to be a one-off because it was an hour long. This is going to be a long video for you guys. It does now mean that I'm now breaking down 3 animes a week. I might leave it at that unless something really important grabs my attention. Hello and welcome, I'm Clockwork Noodles. I have broken down season 2 on the channel if you are interested. I gave my thoughts episode by episode on what was going on in season 2. I am very excited for when season 3 does actually land. You can bet that I'm definitely going to be breaking that down on my channel. If you are not subscribed, make sure you give that subscribe button a bit of love as we are trying to hit 1k subscribers by the end of the year. Going to be interesting to see how close we can come to that target. I'm going to give you guys some of my thoughts, some theories, some of my favourite parts of our long episode that we had. The main point of this episode was to introduce a new character to us. He's awesome, very quirky in his own right, as most people are in the Dr. Stone universe. I think we should just dive straight into it because it's going to be quite a long one. It was a clever way of doing a recap, but I did also have to remember that they were using resources and time to make a stage. I thought Chrome doing his best impression of Senku and being a statue was absolutely hilarious, and I loved the way that he just fell over so convincingly. He just dropped. Very clever. Fun to see Chrome, but he doesn't actually take too much screen time this episode. In the start and then he's right at the end, and I love Chrome. I think Chrome is a fantastic character. He reminds me of Senku from The Village, Senku from that period of time, but we are still chasing that big question. Where did the light originate from? Easy to forget that's actually the big question that we still haven't had answered in Dr. Stone just yet. Maybe one day we're going to get an answer. Scary thought that the manga has ended. I think the final volume came out around March. I haven't seen any spoilers and I don't want spoilers. I really hope that things get tied up nicely, and I do have my doubts whether we're going to see Tsukasa revived. Hopefully I'll be surprised when I get to that point. But it did seem like we were initially wasting time. Waste of resources because we needed to have lights. I feel like they could have done that to make houses. I still don't know where everyone's living. I guess they've taken over the Tsukasa clan's place. Who's going to pick a ship? We get to see that local experience is very important, and Magma actually shows us through his own drawings the kind of ships that this place is up to date with. We're getting a feel for the level of technology that existed pre-Senku, and it's a pretty decent ship. Sadly, it wouldn't make a journey across sea to maybe America or wherever we're trying to aim. I'm guessing we're going to try and go to America. Awesome to see that level of detail, idea of where the technology is at. Senku's proposal is more 15th, 14th century. It's definitely a step up in technology. I think he even said he's going to make it a hybrid, going to have a motor and things. It's going to be a mixture of old and new, but it's all going to be new to all the villagers. These ships do take a lot of time, so it's good to see that they've started laying the foundations. I'm glad they're not rushing or powering through it because it is going to take time to make. Interesting to see that they've picked a dry dock, and hopefully that means they can roll it into the nearest sea or river or something, so they're going to be able to roll it in, and hopefully it's going to be deep enough to get that ship out to sea. Do miss Tsukasa. It is sad not to have him floating around because he was awesome and I warmed up to him right at the end. Even as a villain, I do love a good written villain. I don't know if we're gonna get another villain because it's not the show that needs one now. If we're going to be going abroad and we're going to go and find the origins of the light, perhaps we don't need a villain. Perhaps Tsukasa was the closest we would get to that. But it is handy to have all of the muscle dudes and lasses, the integration of his clan and the village clan. Journalist's skill of being able to know everybody is still one of the most important skills, and she is able to, through her own dismay, pick out a fantastic captain. Sailing the seas is something that you can't really just pick up. It all comes down to experience. So I'm glad, again, the show isn't just passing off and going, hey, we'll use the village ship guy and he knows how to sail rivers. Great to see that they know that they need a captain, somebody who can go across the seas. Such a good OP, and it's a classic. It did feel like we might have had a few composition changes to the OP, but it does make me very hyped. And from what I can see, it's sometime in 2023. I was hoping it would be this year. I don't know why I had it in my head that it was coming out this year. It makes me so sad. At some point, season 3 is going to hit, and I really can't wait to see the next part of the journey, because this movie gets us to the point where we're looking for oil. Oil is going to allow us to run the ship. We're not quite ready to go across the sea just yet. Our new character, we have a rich boy who basically wants the entire world. Batman, right? He's super smart. Kind of want to keep calling him Batman because that's how he feels, because he immediately tries to call his butler and he doesn't have a butler in the world, and you're like, oh, got to learn to fend for himself. But then you see he somehow manages to hire a servant. Love his design. His design is fantastic. I also like the fact that he's all women are beautiful. Shows us what kind of character he is. The rich playboy. I guess he's the Iron Man of this world as well. The design is fantastic. I really like it. I really want to cosplay from this, and my favourite cosplayer who has cosplayed from Dr. Stone is Noodles from South Africa. Fantastic cosplay. If you do just get a moment to go check him out and say that Becca sent you, that'd be fantastic. Check out Noodles cosplay. He cosplayed Tsukasa. His Tsukasa is just insane. It looks like he's literally just stepped out of the TV screen. It makes me really want to do a cosplay from this as well, but I just don't quite know who I would cosplay from this just yet. This is indeed his introduction and who he is and how important he's definitely going to be to the coming season. If we're going to be on the high seas, your most important character is going to be somebody who can sail the high seas, so it's very good to have a character like him, even if he has got some quirks. It's also fun to see that he recognises Senku was testing him, which earns Senku respect in his book, which is going to be very important with a guy like him. He won't respect you unless you've earned it. Senku getting in there quite quickly to show, hey look, I am worth respecting, you're going to want me on your side. Soon to become an oil baron. We need oil to run the ship. Our rich kid wants to own everything, realizes that right now nobody owns the oil field. So if we find oil, I'm going to be literally the richest person in the stone world. Bittersweet, tasteless that we're going to be giving him an entire oil field. I don't know if that's going to screw up what happens when we do finally get the world back to normal. We're already going to have somebody like him who has servants already. He's going to already own things. Prepare for some crazy inflation. We are printing money. We have finally reached the point when we have a currency. It does make me wonder, did we not have a bartering system already with the villagers? Did they really not have a way of trading for things, and they must have had value for good? It does make you wonder how the village was actually operating in the first place. It is interesting to see that currency suddenly starts to grow the economy, and they finally have an economy now, and it also allows them to pay for labour, allow people to have money to spend on goods and things, selling the ramen that once upon a time was free, which must be quite sad to them, because once upon a time it was free, but now we're making money off it because we need to pay the rich oil baron guy. Somehow we're gonna help him find oil, but then he's gonna own the oil that will get him to drive us across the sea. Printing money has ensured that he is the one at the top. Now we need to make money to pay him. I guess it is the birth of an economy. Ryuusui is actually correct when he does say that belief in money is all down to trust. Trust that the £10 note you've just been given is going to buy you £10 worth of goods. Money, as I learned in history, is a system of belief. We believe that the money we're given has a value. So the value of money is simply a perceived perception. Guest appearance from Mount Fuji-san. Seeing some of our characters tearing up. Something I really like when it comes to Dr. Stone. Seeing characters who have been away from the comforts of their own time. Suddenly seeing a familiar landmark like Mount Fuji and just tearing up inside a little bit. I also did forget that Mount Fuji was actually a volcano. That is on me. But of course, volcanic activity. Japan also is on a fault line. So naturally, parts of Japan are going to sink. I think Tokyo itself is built on a water basin. I think that's why Japan Sinks was made as a anime, because it was trying to highlight the fact that there could be a mega earthquake and it's going to cause sinking and flooding in Japan. There's been a couple of animes that focus on the idea that Japan might sink one day. Japan Sinks, we've got Tokyo 8.0. I think it's briefly mentioned in Weathering with You as well, because at the end of that, Tokyo is underwater. Naturally, with tectonic activity going on, the coastline is no longer even recognisable, so they realise that they need a new map, which gives us the need to find a more efficient way of surveying the place and finding out what really has become of the Japan that they're now in. Poor Yuzahara. Nobody understands what lengths that us seamstress we go to. It literally takes ages of painstaking work to sew things. She's been sewing since season 1. Senku clearly trying to manipulate the market to actually say, hey, I need your help. You've got to do this for me. I need all of this hemp turning into cotton. Magma's primitive reaction to the idea of a man flying. This is so realistic to what actually happened. When the idea of man hitting the skies to fly even became a dream of the people. People were mocking the idea. It was never going to happen. The idea that one day man would be taken to the stars and flying. Really nice to see Magma's reaction reflecting this. And then Yo also reacting to him being so primitive, because he's a person who knows what's happened in the future. Turning into such a funny comedy duo, them arguing with one another, them becoming quite a great rivalry. I really like seeing them just kind of squabbling over the most stupidest things. Yo sees Magma as primitive, and then Magma's like, well, I've got all of this experience that you don't have. Ha ha ha. I think they're great. I can't wait to see if that comedy duo continues into season 3. Yuzahara has been making clothing since season 1. they do state that she's been sewing leather. Some of the costumes I'm seeing don't look like leather, and Tsukasa had fur. I don't think that some of the things they're wearing is leather, like the socks, shoes and things, and I think her outfit as well has got fluff on the top and it then goes down with ribbons and things. Call a little bit of BS on them saying that it's only now that we're acquiring cloth. Her asking for a loom is of course the natural step, because the loom was the evolution of the textile industry. I like Senku's response as well. We didn't have much time, so I'm sorry I couldn't give you an electric one. He does realise that what he's standing right in front of is something that literally revolutionised the entire textiles industry. Maybe he doesn't quite realise the importance of what he's created to somebody who is a seamstress and knows the sheer importance of a loom like that. And that loom obviously allows her to make bigger pieces of cloth, bigger, quicker, a bit more easier. She doesn't have to hunch over as much, so it's better on her back posture as well. My time has come. This episode has given me hope, something to live on for. I can wait to season 3 now because I can die happy. I have finally seen my boy Kinro in a suit. Literally made me scream. Him in a suit looking very uncomfortable. Just him on the catwalk as well. Literally, I died inside and went to heaven. It was amazing. Showing off the only designer in the Stone world, Yuzuhara. She's definitely gonna have that industry cornered. She's become a rich textiles tycoon. If anything, she is the one who's going to be making money to rival Ryusui. She's going to make so much money clothing every single person. People are going to want to spend that money on frivolous things. People want to have changes to clothing. People like to spend and have nice items. That's how we see Ryusui actually spending money initially. He buys a load of clothing because he's rich. He's got that disposable income. He can do that. I do think that Yuzuhara is going to be the richest person in the entire Stone world. But look out, ladies, there is a new husbando on the street, and suits are definitely in. And this is definitely going to allow for some diversity in the Stone world as well. So it's not just we're making things for need. It's now people can want things. I can want that really cute scarf and more choice. I guess it improves your daily living if you have more items of luxury. I did already expect the villagers would be very good at sewing, because obviously up until this point they've had to sew their own clothing. And I can imagine this was passed down from parent to child, as it would have been done back in our own history as well, where young girls were taught to sew from their mothers. Obviously, it was considered a feminine skills, but we do see that in this world, Magma is sewing. So the guys also know how to sew, which is quite nice. I did find it quite funny as well that Gen has invented tarot cards / playing cards. Him being an illusionist magician, he is going to want his own set. So it's hilarious to see him already on it and knows exactly what he wants to create. Seeing that sleight of hand as well, and then cute Gen. It's all about the illusion of choice. So, you didn't get this card. Oh, what a shame. I've got it. This is going to make me the most important person. But it's a shame. I'm a little bit terrified. What should I do? Genius. Him being able to convince Ryusui that you're the one who wants to do this. You're going to suddenly take in that platinum ticket. You're going to do something that nobody has done in 3,700 years. It really is a big deal. Naturally, Ryusui wants to have his stamp on the sky because he wants to claim that he's one of the first people to have flown in absolute millennia. Chrome. I was so sad when he didn't quite play a big role in this episode. He is the one who is going to want to fly the most as the Senku of the village world. Love for discovery, his love for everything. And when he hears that there's going to be a chance to fly, there's the dream. He's the one who wants to fly. He's not the one who mocks the idea of flying. He's the one who goes, how can we make it happen? So I was so happy that he was given a chance to fulfill that. So happy for him when he ends up pulling that card. And I think Gen poked the card out. He was drawn to the corner. So he was like, this is the one I'm going to pick. I'm so happy that he ended up running away from his post. However far it was just to get that chance. I love Chrome. I think seeing Chrome happy makes me happy. The scene that it leads to, just seeing the world from the stars, seeing the world from above. Some people are terrified of flying, but you can't deny the importance of flight, the importance of air travel, literally opening up the world around us. I can be in Japan in about 12, 16 hours is insane, as opposed to me traveling by foot when it would take me months, maybe even years. How important traveling is. And with all of our characters up in the basket, seeing the world below them, seeing those sights for the first time that anybody has glanced up in the sky for 3,700 years. It's such a big thing for them. How touching that is in Dr. Stone. There are some inventions and there's some moments in Dr. Stone that are just irreplaceable. Like maybe seeing Mount Fuji for the first time in 3,700 years, or seeing the world below you, flying in a balloon. Really admire how far the characters have come when it comes to Dr. Stone. It was a very touching moment, a fantastic moment. And seeing Chrome as well, who's never flown. Somebody who has never flown, looking down and finally seeing that, oh, we can be there in 2 hours. You've taken what, maybe a day or two to get here. We're now going to do that in 2 hours. Of course, it naturally leads to the thing that I think was the goal of the episode anyway, seeing Ryuusui in action. Chrome's reaction, absolutely precious. I'm so happy that he dared to dream. Ryuusui was definitely meant to be chosen, so he's definitely at this point showing us the skills, how important he's going to be when it comes to sailing, and I think this is the point. This is the motive of the movie and Senku, because Senku obviously wanted him to be chosen. The movie also wants to show you that this is the guy who's going to be playing a very important role in the next season. I love the fact that we also head back to the start. We're back to the village again. Didn't actually know about the eastern wind that blows over Japan, so I too am learning stuff, and I think that's the great thing about Dr. Stone. Anime that can teach you a lot about the world that you take for granted every single day. And seeing Ryuusui using the wind, fantastic, because he naturally would. For sailing, weather and the wind, all of these things are things that he would have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And there probably are people out there who can look at the sky and go, oh, it's gonna rain. There are people like that who have just been so trained to know what clouds are doing, and it's great to see him showing us how skilled he really is. Maybe Chrome has found a rival, seeing those two being rivals of science, then trying to one-up each other, and a lot of chest bumping going on. We might have the Yor Magma duo, and we've also got the Chrome and Ryuusui duo to look forward to. Hopefully that all gets built up in the season 3 as well. Storm giving us nice segment to see how serious all our characters can become. Chrome pulling through with the idea that we should just power through and get higher. Really like the Storm segment. It's the action of the episode. Sadly, we do see the last bottle of revival fluid going. That does mean there's no more people for now, and that's probably a good thing. I think we've got a lot of characters floating around. I don't know how many characters are now awake, including the villagers. We must be over 100. For now, I don't think we need any more characters. At some point, they're probably going to find a way of making the nitric acid in a different manner anyway. I love how serious Chrome gets when he starts to try and think of a way forward, and Ryuusui as well, making his mark, showing us that he is the king of the wind. Line that probably got me when they start seeing the village and they actually do make it through is the world now feels closer. Probably the thing that somebody once said when we started to travel around via the use of airplanes. All of our history condensed into a few seasons with Dr. Stone. And yes, at times they do take a few advantages. They obviously make things work for them and they do speed through a few things. The idea of Dr. Stone showing you how far people can come by creating things is also just one big giant sandbox game. It really reminds me of things like Civilization. And every time we acquire something, every time we age ourselves up, I can't help but feeling I'm playing Age of Empires or Civilization. And I love that. Gin, with Gin being the illusion master, him creating the illusion of choice, explaining why we had to have them have a competition, despite the fact we knew we were going to pick Senku's boat anyway. It's a very fearsome skill when they state that I'm so lucky that you're actually on Senku's side. Could you even imagine how much damage he could have done on Tsukasa's side? It is very powerful, and obviously Tsukasa realised that because initially he had to play double agent and eventually he gets over to Senku's side. But Tsukasa realised the importance of Gen, and again being on our side, it just makes you feel happy, and we take it for granted now that he's on the side of good. I thought it was a very fun, longer episode that allowed us to get ready for the next step. We've been introduced to a very vital new character of Ryuusui, and he's definitely going to be important in our new seasons. It's a great introduction, and it also allows us to have a catch-up. I've missed these guys. I'm so happy to catch up with the characters and see where they're doing and see how they're going. Naturally, it hypes me up for season 3 as well. It was fun. We get to see that the economy has now landed currencies. We've now got trade. We've got people buying luxury items and starting to increase the market size as well, which is really, really interesting to see. And of course, we've got air travel. Air travel has finally been brought forward. Our technology has now just been up. In those games, if you're talking about Age of Empires, we just aged up to maybe the industrial age. Now we've got air travel. We've got a step closer to making sea travel. But obviously that is a bit reversed. So we actually had sea travel and ocean travel before we had planes. We are just taking that bit a little bit backwards, but it's been a fantastic OVA. I thought it was fun. It's obviously not going to rate as highly as season 2 or season 1, complete seasons where they've taken their time, and I did think we covered a lot of ground in this little arc, but it was fun, and I'm so glad that I got to talk to you guys about it, and you guys can forgive me for this episode being a little bit longer because it was an hour, condensing notes and thoughts for an hour long bit of anime. I'm so happy, but I'm also sad that I thought season 3 was coming and it's not, so we've got to wait just a little bit longer still. we're one step closer to having a boat. Delving into the mystery that really is in Dr. Stone is, what was the light? Who created the light? What was the purpose of this light? What have they gained from getting rid of all the humans? Huge reset. I am so happy I had a chance to watch this, guys. I'm so thankful for you guys if you have tuned in to listen to me ramble about Dr. Stone once again. Hopefully I'll be seeing you when season 3 does start to air. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.